Hello guys, my name is Nash. Welcome to Thursday Tales of Terror, TTT. So for today's case, it is going to be another unsolved mystery case that I'm going to be talking about, the McDonald's boys case. Now the McDonald's boys case is still very much talked about till today, even though it happened about 35 years ago. Two boys from Owen Primary School unfortunately just vanished without a trace. To Huat and K Chin An were both aged 12. Major crimes in Singapore were extremely rare back then, and this case has received huge attention from the public and the media. As you may know, Singapore is a very small country. It's really very hard to believe that the two boys would disappear just like that. Theories were developed in the years since the boys' disappearance, but nothing could be determined from it. The parents had to live for over 3 decades not knowing what happened to their children. So let's begin the story. On 14 May 1986, Huat, who was a primary 6 student, asked his mother if he could go to school with a friend that day. His mother thought that this was unusual because Huat was typically a shy boy who preferred to be with his mother. But it was presumed that he was meeting with his close friend Chin An, so she gave him permission, thinking nothing much of it. This was the last time Huat was seen. At around 12:30 p.m. on that very same day, Chin An left school to visit some shops nearby, and he was never seen again. Both boys had in fact failed to show up to their 12:55 p.m. class and were never seen again. A classmate of Chin An named Wang Wei had been with Chin An before the school bell rang. He was also the last person to have witnessed Chin An running towards some nearby shops. Wei had offered to take care of Chin An's bag. He carried the bag to the tuck shop where he left it with his own before going to play. When the school bell rang, Wei collected his bag, but he didn't take Chin An's bag because he thought that Chin An would collect it later. Wei returned to class, but he noticed that Chin An wasn't there. He then approached the class teacher to ask her if he could quickly go grab Chin An's bag that he left at the tuck shop. The teacher asked him for Chin An's whereabouts, and he told her what happened. The teacher also noted that Huat was also not in class. The boys were 2 of 24 primary 6 pupils in the extended stream class. Initially, the teacher thought that maybe the two boys were playing truant, but this was highly unlikely because the two boys had very good attendance and were generally very well behaved. The teacher decided to call their parents right away. Chin An's father, K Ching Pan, and Chin An's mother, Tay Mina, came immediately, and they were so worried. They were told by the teacher to wait for Chin An at the tuck shop, but they were so anxious that they stood by the school gate instead. After talking to Wei, Chin An's father requested for Huat's telephone number and address. The teacher told him to be patient as she will try to contact Huat's mother. The teacher, however, had difficulty reaching Huat's mother. She couldn't get through and ended up calling the telecoms operator, who told her that the number had been changed. The number was unlisted. She asked her students if any of them knew Huat's new number, and one girl did. After successfully getting through to the number, Huat's mother, Tan Gyok Kwan, came to school. The teacher further added that the two boys never gave her any trouble. In fact, Huat, who was described as a pin-sized boy, was very smart. During one semester, Huat even topped the class for mathematics. Huat was also known to be very popular with his classmates, and Chin An really looked up to him. Classmates said that the two boys were very close friends and would always be seen together. As the hours passed, the parents got more and more anxious. They searched the school grounds and the surrounding Owen housing estate before eventually calling the police. According to some reports, their books and bags were found under a tree, but nobody knew where they had gone. Nobody would have expected things to turn out this way. Wei, who was questioned by the boys' parents, the teachers, the school principal, and the police, said that his parents scolded him for being a busybody when he returned home that day. After 6 days, the two missing boys made headlines again. As it was examination period, their families, teachers, and police were getting very anxious about their whereabouts. Chin An's mother described Chin An as playful but not naughty. He was a very talkative boy, and he would often chat with his mother and his 2 sisters about television programs, school friends, and many more. It was not known if Chin An and Huat had met each other that day. Huat's mother, on the other hand, said that it was unusual for Huat to do things on his own, as he was quite timid, as mentioned earlier before. Now, 18 days have passed and the two boys were still nowhere to be found or seen. The family of one of 2 missing boys offered a $1,000 reward to anyone who might have information about their whereabouts. Initially, the parents still had that little hope that the two boys might return after school examinations were over. However, neither family has received any word about their sons. The boys' parents felt that it was unlikely that their sons had run away from home. Detectives have carried out searches in housing estates near Owen school but to no avail. Classmates of the two boys were also being interviewed by the police but were unable to throw light on the boys' disappearance. On July 17, 1986, 30,000 leaflets were being distributed island-wide for the police to trace the two missing boys. The leaflets specified personal details of the boys such as their age, hair colors, height, complexion, and the clothes they were wearing when they disappeared. Another 10,000 leaflets were sent to police station island-wide as well. Police also put up 10,000 of these large posters at strategic areas such as community centers, restaurants, fast food outlets, and shopping centers in the hope that someone might have seen the boys. At this point, the parents of both boys had increased their reward to $5,000. There had been little response. Police had been receiving calls providing some tips to where the boys might be, but all of them lead to nothing. Many of the callers refused to identify themselves. Some said they saw the boys at SENTOSA, while others said they were spotted at St. John's Island. There was one caller who claimed that he saw the two boys loitering at the Singapore-Johor Express bus terminus. According to the caller, the two boys were seen with two Chinese men aged about 40. A police spokesman also said that they went to check Nee Soon Community Centre where the boys were believed to have been spotted, but they weren't there as well. Checks in Hougang Avenue 2, where one of the boys was reportedly seen selling biscuits, also amounted to nothing. The boys' parents were also receiving calls from the public, some well-meaning, others nasty. In fact, one of the calls got so bad that on the 3rd of September 1986, Chin An's father, K. Ching Pan, suffered from a stroke after he received a prankster's call. He was hospitalized for close to 2 weeks at the Singapore General Hospital. He could not remember what the caller had said, but he remembered becoming pale and feeling giddy, and his right hand and leg became weak. He then collapsed while on his way to a Chinese temple with Huat's mother after the call. The two families have in fact grown closer since both of their sons were missing. Luckily, Huat's mother was there to help him. Weirdly, Huat's mother also claimed that she received a nasty call on that same night, only half an hour after Ching Pan. She recalled that the caller was a man who spoke in Hokkien, and he said she should not hope for her son's return. Now, it was also revealed that Huat's mother was separated from her husband, and she and Huat lived alone. She would spend sleepless nights waiting by the telephone alone, hoping for news of her son. She even went to more than 30 temples to seek the help of mediums. Both mothers said that the two boys didn't take any clothes from home or ask for any extra money. Huat's two piggy banks were untouched, and Huat even asked his mom to prepare pork chops and potato chips for dinner before he left home that day. Chin An, on the other hand, was given 70 cents that day. It's highly likely that the boys were in danger as they couldn't possibly stay away from home for so long without money. At this point, the police was baffled by the boys' disappearance. Several questions weighed heavily on their minds. Number 1. Did Chin An in fact go to Huat's home near the school? Huat's mother never saw Chin An. She just heard her son say that Chin An had arrived to fetch him. Number 2. Did the boys meet that afternoon because no one saw them together? Number 3. Did the two boys plan to go on some adventure together? Number 4. Did they have a rendezvous with someone else? And lastly, number 5. Were they innocently strolling towards Owen School when they were snatched away? These are all the questions that have remained unanswered, but have been bothering the police. Now, the search for the two boys further intensifies with seasoned investigators working round the clock to sniff out every possible lead or clue. Police officers at this point have interviewed over 200 people. They even ventured to offshore islands to search for the boys. Malaysian police have also joined in the search for the boys as well. According to reports, the police had received a call saying that the two boys were spotted at Pulau Ubin. Upon receiving the call, some 90 officers were dispatched to comb the area. They were searching homes, empty squatter huts, trudging through fields, the beach, and even spoke to scores of islanders, but the exhausted officers found nothing. Huat's mother even travelled to Kuala Lumpur to look for her son and reach out to several Malaysian organisations for help. On 22nd September 1986, more than 4 months after the boys had disappeared, their families increased the reward to $20,000. On the 4th of October 1986, a reward of $100,000 was offered for information about Hong Huat and Chin An's whereabouts by fast food chain McDonald's. The posters with the boys' faces and the police hotline number were also put up at 16 McDonald's restaurants. This was also the reason why the case was dubbed as the McDonald's boys case. 2 years later, the police were still searching for the boys. Police have further taken their search overseas and alerted their counterparts in Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand, where informers claim that the boys have been spotted. 300 posters sponsored by McDonald's were translated into Bahasa Indonesia and were sent to Jakarta as well. Bangkok police were also provided with the boys' photos and details. Despite the 100-odd tip-off, police have not come across anyone who actually saw the boys themselves. They would say that it's their friend who saw the boys or a friend's friend, so they couldn't tell the police exactly where the location was. Police were still unable to determine the motive for the disappearance. The boys were both well looked after and happy, so it's not possible that they could have run away. If they were kidnapped, the families would have received ransom demands by now, but that didn't happen. Them being abducted due to illegal trade was highly unlikely, as their disappearance is an isolated incident, and illegal traders would have taken more than 2 boys. Police also do not think that the boys were being killed, as their bodies would have been found by now. There were also speculations that the boys could have drowned, but this was dismissed because the boys didn't like swimming. Meanwhile, the Straits Times even commissioned a New York-based firm to use a high-tech imaging device to electronically age the faces of the missing boys and create an update photograph of them. The image is produced using the missing person's photograph and that of an older family member whom he most resembles. In Chin An's case, a picture of his elder sister was used, but this could not be done for Hong Huat. Hong Huat's mother was unable to provide useful photograph. This face software has in fact scored a few successes in the United States in helping to locate missing children. When the updated photograph was shown to Chin An's family, they were excited but sad. Excited because they were able to see and visualize how Chin An would look like. Sad because Chin An was still missing. The photograph was reported to cost about US $400, which is about Singapore $800. Despite all of this effort and manpower put into searching the 2 boys, eventually on May 14, 1993, the 2 boys were declared legally dead. The case remains unresolved till today. Now, the McDonald's boys case received wide media coverage during its time. In November 1986, the case was featured in the first episode of Crime Watch on MediaCorp's Channel 5. In 2016, MediaCorp revisited the 1986 case in a toggle series called Missing. And in September 2020, the local media publisher Mothership.sg posted a YouTube video about the unsolved case and has garnered over 1.5 million views. Now let's dive into the theories. Now, theory number 1. Hong Huat's estranged father could have adopted the boys and brought them to Johor Bahru. It was said that the couple divorced due to their failed business. Hong Huat's mother did not allow Hong Huat's father to see his son, and so he would regularly take Hong Huat out of class. And because he was missing lessons, the teachers complained about this matter to Hong Huat's mother. She then decided to change Hong Huat's school without telling his father. It was also revealed that the court had ordered for Hong Huat's father to pay a huge sum of alimony to Hong Huat's mother. Now, it was also revealed that just 4 days before the 2 boys disappeared, Hong Huat's mother could not find Hong Huat in school when she went to pick him up. He only turned up later in the evening, revealing that he had spent the entire time with his father. After almost a decade since the boys disappeared, new information was uncovered that further supports this theory. Investigations revealed that Tan Giok Kwan, Hong Huat's mother, was not Hong Huat's biological mother. Hong Huat's father actually had an affair, and this mistress gave birth to Hong Huat. This mistress refused to have anything to do with this child and even went to the extent of forging Hong Huat's birth certificate. Tan Giok Kwan, on the other hand, adopted Hong Huat as her own, and Hong Huat never knew he was adopted. During investigations, the mistress told the authorities that a week before the 2 boys disappeared, Hong Huat's father had contacted her to ask if she would take Hong Huat back, but she refused. He then threatened her to not tell anyone that she is his birth mother. In 1996, Huat's father was brought in for questioning as a possible suspect, but police had to release him due to insufficient evidence. Many people have shared their views on this theory. While some people believe that it doesn't make any sense for Huat's father to abduct Chin-an as well, there are also those that believe Huat's father didn't have a choice but to abduct both boys if they had been together that day. Just imagine if Huat's father had snatched just Huat away. Chin-an would have reported this matter to the teacher, and Huat's father would definitely get caught by the authorities should he choose to just abduct Huat alone. There were also rumors going around claiming that the two boys were indeed being abducted by Huat's father and were being brought to Johor Bahru as mentioned before, but the two boys have since grown up to be hooligans. But these are just rumors. Theory number 2, another more horrific theory suggests that the two boys were abducted by a human trafficking syndicate and taken to Thailand, where they had their limbs amputated and were forced to beg on the streets for money. Some Singaporeans that went on a holiday in Thailand had claimed that they had seen the boys on the streets of Bangkok, but nothing came of this lead. All of these theories have never been verified. Now, I only shared these two theories because I believe that these two theories were the most highly likely possible scenarios to happen. Other theories involving child sacrifices and stuff like that, I don't really think that's possible. Now, if the two of them are alive today, they would be 47 years old. Like everyone else, I sincerely hope for this case to be solved one day. If you're watching this video and you have any information about the whereabouts of the two missing individuals, please contact the police or Crime Library Singapore at 6293-5250. Now we have come to an end to today's mystery. I feel it is very important to keep talking about such cases in hopes that someone might be able to come up with new leads or information. With the current technology being so advanced and various social media platforms taking over the world, I believe it is still not entirely impossible to still try and uncover the truth. Let's all hope for the two boys to be able to reunite with their families soon. If you like the way I tell stories, please do give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and share this video around. I upload videos every Thursday, and I'll see you next Thursday with another story. Bye!